Good evening, everyone. This is Maurice from the Triple M Model Railroad. As you can see in front of you, again, I have my GEVOs. I actually have the new run, the third run of this series, and which are these two here, and the two on the second track. And I also have the first run, 3804. And something told me to take out the first run and the third run of this series and compare them. And I found some very interesting things. All right, for one, as you can see, or maybe not, yeah, actually you can see in this video, sometimes the camera phone doesn't really portray it very well, but as one is the shade of orange is quite different. The first run is basically a darker shade as compared to the third run, which is actually a lighter shade orange. I don't know if that was deliberate, that was deliberately done, or what, but I mean, they still look good. Both of them look good in their respective shades of orange. So, I mean, that's not much of a big deal. And also, if you notice inside the grill, the superstructure or the X-brace here is actually orange, and if you see the weight inside of the part of the chassis is actually gray, whereas the new run, the X-brace or superstructure is actually gray, and the weight or the chassis is actually black. This also goes for the second run of the series as well. So, and the PTC size is a little different. This one is actually, the front PTC is larger than the ones on the new run. And also the rear ones are smaller. Well, actually here is smaller than the ones on the third run. Now, that's not really what I'm actually making this video for. I mean, these are just minor things. But the elephant in the room has something to do with what I believe is the decoders themselves. With the version 4, which is the first run, and the version 5 is the second run. And comparing the performance of both of them, when I'm put them on the track, running them together, they do not run at the same speeds. The performance is very different compared to, comparing them both. Very, very different. And that can cause some problems when you're running consist. If you have a mix mash of engines, you're going to have one pulling and one pushing. And I did not expect that, to be honest with you, with the ESU decoders, that the performance gap is significantly different. And looking at the software, when I download the settings of both engines, they are relatively set the same if memory serves. I mean, actually, with the third release, I didn't quite remember what the settings were. I believe that for CVs 3 and 4 was 22, the same as the first release. And the speed disparage, or the setting disparage, is very different when it comes to how fast the engines accelerate. And you will see it in the software that it is also significantly different. Actually, the third release is actually faster than the second release. The first release. And it may be faster than the second release, because second release is basically the version 4s as well. So this is going to take quite some tweaking to get that actually, both of them working properly. What I'm trying to do is trying to get the first release to run similar to the second release. That will be my base of performance. It'll be the third release, since it's a newer decoder. So I got to try to get it to match the version 4s to match the version 5s. Or I can just shell out some more money and just get a version 5 decoder and just drop it right in, and just sell the version 4 decoder for a discount. I mean, that's another option, which I really don't want to do. But sometimes, you may not have choice in the matter. But, we'll see if I can pull it off. Now, another thing that could be different, it might be the gearing, the gear ratio, which I doubt very much that ScaleTrains will actually change the gear ratios. That doesn't quite make much sense. But, I mean, anything's possible. But that's maybe the second reason why they're running the way they are running. But that's an unlikely chance they will actually change the gear ratios of their locomotives. I mean, it could be for it to make it run a little bit smoother. I mean, that is a possibility, but again, I doubt it very much. So I'm going to turn these on, and I'm going to run them, and you're going to see the disparage when it comes to performance between the two of them. All right, I'm going to set them in reverse. All right. And let's get it started. All right, very slow speed steps. You don't notice too much, but gotta put a little speed to it. The first run will lurch first, and then it will slow down. As you can see, the third release is pulling away. Now the speed settings on these are at 22, or more or less CV22. I'm sorry, not CV22, excuse me. CVs 3 and 4 are at 22. And also, release number 3 actually slows down slower than the first release of this locomotive. Okay, now let's go forward. Now going forward is a little better, but you can actually see the third release. The engine in the rear is slowly catching up. It's very slowly catching up. Yeah, this is going to take some work to get them to run right. It's going to be a pain in the butt, but I mean, the third release has totally new technology. So when it comes to the version 5 decoder, and I have to try to get the version 4s to actually match as best I can. And I basically have 8 of those. So I got, oh Lord, not 8, actually, yes, no. I have 10 of them, to get it to match, to the new one. So I will have some more information on this. Either an extension of this video or some other video, and we'll take it from there. So everyone, thanks for watching.